Welcome to Morning Minutes for Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. Today, our topic is Be the Church. And first, I'm going to read you a couple of passages from the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verses 11, 16, and 17. It says, O afflicted one, storm-tossed and not comforted, behold, I will set your stones in antimony, and your foundations I will lay in sapphires. Behold, I myself have created the smith who blows the fire of coals and brings out a weapon for its work. And I have created the destroyer to ruin. No weapon that is formed against you will prosper, and every tongue that accuses you in judgment you will condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication from me, declares the Lord. What is it that worship song Everlasting says? I think it's something like, so many times I've failed and still your mercy remains. Well, that's the way I'm feeling today. So what's it going to take for us to begin to be the church? A bride properly prepared for the lover of our souls to come again and betroth us finally to eternity. God's been pressing in on me individually and showing me the church corporately in a whole new light beginning this year. But what does being the church actually mean, you might say? I agree. It's just about the simplest concept to understand at the same time as being the most complex spiritual and emotional proposition that anyone has or ever will consider. We are God's beautiful bride, His chosen sons and daughters. Though rather than embracing our unique, free, alluring, singularly designed identity and running headlong into the arms of what our utmost and highest doubtlessly acknowledges as His will, still here we sit. Our minds removed, our bodies sold, still blindly believing and obeying all the wrong voices in our actions, betraying ourselves, listening to wrong thinking, and doing exactly what the world says is right. All along the way, God's Spirit shouts, pleads with our hearts to even for a moment sit and listen to Him, to be filled up with His voice, and heaven forbid, embrace the lineal posterity and power He gave us from before all time. Listen to this quote from John Eldredge in his book Restoration Year. It says, quote, our address used to be paradise, remember? But we don't live in that world anymore. Eventually, something comes along and touches those essential places in us to awaken the more we were meant for. Invite Jesus into a time in your life when you knew you were loved, into the desire awakened in that memory. Folks, we serve an out-of-the-box God. You need to start living as though we understand what that looks like. But don't worry about it if you don't. Just ask God. If you need a set of instructions, He left us His word. Need an interpreter? In the person of the Holy Spirit, He left us the best tutor in the universe to explain it, to reveal ourselves to us, and to confirm, qualify, and enable us in every way. Being the church, corporately and individually, means drawing and coloring outside the lines of what we call societal norms. What does that look like? Well, for one, being unashamed and unafraid in declaring that we know who we are and whose we are. Secondly, knowing the difference between what is a counterfeit and what is authentic. And lastly, knowing the difference between a friend and an enemy, and without reservation, to acquit ourselves accordingly. I say let it begin with me. But let us, every one of us who proclaim Christ, aspire to this. Let us not be destroyed for lack of knowledge, as it says in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit put all of it in our DNA. He gave us desires, goals, gifts, talents, all the things that fill us up. You know them because when they happen, when you act, You feel his joy, and that is unmistakably real. We can't deny it, can't hide it. And who would want to anyway? So today I'm going to leave you with another great quote from a pastor and friend of mine named Ed Allen. He says, quote, "Moral zeal is necessary even for the Christian, as stated in Titus chapter 2, verse 14. But if our religious devotion is pursued in our own strength or for the sake of personal praise, we will find ourselves deceived and heading for destruction." So let's go out today and do this God's way, shall we? And as always, make today a great one.